This is Sandhya. I'm back with another chapter. Today we will continue with the history of class 10 and the chapter which we will discuss is the rise of nationalism in Europe. Part 2. Dear children, history is an essential subject as it constitutes a crucial subsubject of social science. Here, history is a theoretical subject, so you need to write excellent answers. And scoring good marks in history is vital as scoring in other subjects. So, I have covered all the concepts in this session. You can score more marks in your history exam by go through this video lecture. Let us move on to the topic. Dear children, 1830s is recalled as the year of revolutionary attempts in Europe. It is also recalled for the hardship and the hunger that struck Europe. Dear children, let's discuss about this. Dear children, when Russia occupied Poland, it forcefully imposed the Russian language in schools and churches. The Polish language was stopped. So, in 1831, an armed rebellion against Russian rule took place, which was, however, and crushed by the Russian rule. Dear children, following this, many people, for example, the clergy in Poland, began to use the Polish language as their weapon of resistance against the Russia. Dear children, Polish began to be used for all church gatherings. Dear children, this resulted in the imprisonment of large number of priests and bishops. Dear children, some of them were sent to Siberia by Russian authorities for not using the Russian language to preach. The children, using the Russian language to preach is difficult. So, the use of the Polish language was seen as a part of the revolutionary struggle against Russian dominance. Through the 1830s is recalled as the year of revolutionary attempts in Europe. It is also recalled for the hardship and the hunger that struck in Europe. Dear children, let's discuss about hunger, hardship and popular revolt. The 1830s were years of great economic hardship in Europe. The first half of the 19th century saw an enormous increase in population. In most countries, there were more seekers of jobs than employment. Dear children, Europe had to face so economic hardship during the 1830s. During the first half of the 19th century, the population gradually increased in Europe. The problem of unemployment became common in Europe. People for rural areas started migrating to the cities in search of work. So, this also resulted in setting up various slum areas in these cities. Different groups of societies were facing problems for example of the small businessman such as the textile producer had to bear the burden of tough market competition because of the cheap goods that were imported from England. This was so because the textile production was carried at homes or small workshops that were not fully mechanized. On other hand, England was far more advanced in the area of using of machinery. In these areas where aristocrats were still in a powerful position. Then peasants had to face the burden of feudal Jews. Dear children, not only this, the rise of food prices led to a worsening of the situation. In the year 1848, food shortage and the increasing problem of unemployment resulted in demonstrations by the peasants in Paris. So, it led to the erection of barricade in the city, and Louis Philippe had to leave the city. The children, a national assembly announced a republic. It granted voting rights to all male above the age of 21 and guaranteed the right to work. The children, for this national workshop was set up to provide employment to the public. Another uprising was seen in 1845 in Silesia. The weavers of Silesia revolted against the contractors. Then, contractors were those people who use it to provide the weavers with the raw material so that they could turn them into finished products. The payment made to weavers by these constructors were reduced to a very low amount. This reduction is payment was a reason for this revolt. So, on 14th June, a large crowd of weavers went to the contractors and housed with the demand of a increase in their wages. They were demonstrated by the contractors, and this led to the forceful entry of the weavers into the contractors' house where they destroyed and damaged almost everything. The children, the contractor fell with his family to a nearby village where he was not again sheltered by anyone. After a gap of 24 hours, he returned back with an army, and in the exchange that followed, 11 weavers were shot. The children, till now, we have discussed about the revolution done by the peasants, weavers, and the poets or artists. But parallel to these groups, some more groups had also initiated a revolution in their own way. One such revolution was the educated middle class of European countries. As we know that the February Revolution of 1848 in France had resulted in the removal of the monarch and the establishment of a republic with universal male suffrage. Still, there were many parts in Europe that were not yet declared as independent nation states. They were Germany, Italy, Poland, and the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and so on. And not only these, liberal middle classes comprising of both man and woman started demanding a constitution with national unification. The children, they demanded the nation state based on parliamentary principles with a constitution, freedom of the press, and freedom of association. So, in the German region, a group of political association that consisted of middle class professionals and businessmen and rich artisans gathered in the city of Frankfurt and decided to vote for an all German National Assembly. Dear children, the poor, unemployment, and starving peasants and workers in many European countries in the year 1848, a revolution led by the educated middle classes was underway. Men and women of the liberal middle class combined their demands for constitutionalism with national unification. They deferred to a constitution for a German nation to be headed by a monarchy subject to a parliament. Dear children, as we discussed, on 18th May 1848, 831 elected representatives gathered at Church of St. Paul to take their place in the Frankfurt Parliament. They had drafted a constitution for the German nation which was to be headed by a monarch as per the parliament. When the disputes offered the crown, which was subject to some terms to Frederick and King of Persia, he not only rejected it but also joined other much to oppose the elected assembly. So the parliament never paid attention to the demands of peasants, therefore, it never got any support from them. Finally, the assembly was forced to and disband with the help of troops. Through everyone was fighting for liberalism and the right to vote. The issue of extending political rights to women was still controversial. Dear children, women had participated actively in various revolutionary struggles. They had also formed their political associations, founded newspapers, and had participated in political meetings and demonstrations. But they were not given suffrage rights to during the elections of the assembly, even when the children, Frankfurt Parliament convened in the St. Paul Church, the women were not allowed to stand in the vote gallery as observers. Dear children, in 1848, throughout the conservative forces were able to succeed in suppressing liberal movement. They realized that such revolutions can only be handled by granting some concessions to the liberal national revolutionaries. Dear children, so after 1848, the monarch tried to introduce some measures which were already introduced in Western Europe before 1815. This was the abolition of serfdom and bonded labor in the areas of Habsburg's rules, also granted the right of self-government to the Hungarians in 1867. Dear children, while all these political changes were taking place in Europe and some more events took place which laid the foundation stone of the making of Germany and Italy. Dear children, let us discuss about the making of Germany and Italy. After 1848, nationalism in Europe moved away from its association with democracy and revolution. This can be observed in the process by which Germany and Italy came to be unified as nation state. Nationalist feelings were widespread among middle class Germans. Dear children, the nationalism that had risen before 1848 soon moved away from its associations with democracy and revolution. Dear children, the conservatives started using nationalist sentiments for their own purpose of promoting state power and achieving political dominance over Europe. But as we have already discussed that there was a widespread nationalist feelings among the middle class Germans during 1848, isn't it? They also tried to build Germany as a nation state that was to be governed by the elected parliament. Although their attempt was suppressed by the combined forces of monarch, a military that was suppressed by the landowners of Prussia known as Junkers. From then on, Prussia emerged as a powerful leader that unified Germany. Otto von Bismarck, who he considered the architect of this process, unified Germany with the help of the military. So, Now the question arises, Germany, can the army be the artery of a nation, isn't it? The children, the rise of nationalism in Europe. To understand this, we should discuss Otto von Bismarck. And Otto von Bismarck was a chief minister of Prussia. His ultimate goal was to unite the German states into a strong German empire with Prussia and its code. He never favored liberalism and democracy. He rather used military force to unify Germany. Bismarck, who was considered the architect of this process, took the help of the Persian army and bureaucracy. Dear children, there were fought in the time span of 7 years with Austria, Denmark, and France. The result of these wars was the victory of Prussia and the unification of Germany. In January 1871, William I, the Persian king, was proclaimed as the German Empire in a ceremony held at Versailles. Dear children, so on 18th January 1871, an assembly of princes of the German state and representatives and of the army, important Persian ministers, including the chief minister Otto von Bismarck, gathered in the hall of Mess in the palace of Versailles and proclaimed Cashew William to be the German empire. So, in the end, the nation building process of Germany displayed the dominance of Persian state power. Then the new state laid and emphasizes on some issues. One of that, modernizing the currency and banking and legal and judicial system in Germany. Then Persian measures and practices later on became a model for the rest of Germany. Dear children, so now we know that the unification of Germany took place because of the military expeditions led by the powerful Prussia region. But how did Italy unify? Let us discuss about that. Like Germany, Italy too had a long history of political fragments. Italians were scattered over several dynastic states as well as the multinational Habsburg Empire. Italy was divided into 7 states. Dear children, if we talk about Italy, it was divided into various parts, and Italians were scattered over several dynastic states as well as the multinational Habsburg Empire. Italy was divided into 7 states during the middle of the 19th century. The north was under Austrian Habsburg, the center was under the Pope, and the southern region were under the Bourbon kings of Spain. Only one, Sunday Piedmont, was under an Italian language. The children, not only this, the Italian language was not a common form and had many regional and local variations. Dear children, as we have already discussed that Joseph Mazzini, one of the great revolutionaries of Italy, had tried to unify Italy during the 1830s, isn't it? He had also formed a society called Young Italy for the fulfillment of his goals. But the failure of the revolutionary uprising both in 1831 and 1848 turned the responsibility of unification of Italy on the shoulders of King Victor Emmanuel II, who was the ruler of Cerdanya Piedmont. This was to be done through war. Dear children, the elite of this region and favored the unification of Italy as this would offer them economic prosperity and political dominance. Just like Germany, a chief minister played an important role in the unification of Italy. Here, we are talking about Kevo. He was the chief minister of Piedmont who led the movement to unify the region of Italy. He was neither a revolutionary nor a democrat. He was a wealthy and educated elite who could speak French much better than the Italy. Dear children, it was due to the diplomacy skill of Cover that allowed Ferdinand Piedmont also with France to defeat the Austrian forces in 1859. Dear children, apart from the regular troops, a large number of people voluntarily joined the army of Joseph Garibaldi. And Garibaldi was an Italian general and nationalist. He was perhaps most celebrated of Italian freedom fighters. Dear children, he was also a member of Maggini's Young Italy movement and participated in a Republican uprising in Piedmont in 1834. Dear children, Garibaldi led his volunteer forces in 1860s into South Italy and the kingdom of the Tuscany and succeeded in winning the support of this movement. Dear children, in 1861, Victor Emmanuel II was proclaimed as the king of unified Italy. However, the literate Italian population remained unaware of liberal nationalist ideology. So, through unification of nation took place in various parts of Europe, but the idea of the nation or the national state, as some scholars suggested, is Great Britain. Dear children, the formation of Britain was not the result of sudden revolution because of which it seems as the unification of Britain was very strange. Let us discuss about the strange case of Britain. The model of the nation or the nation state, some scholars have argued it Great Britain. It was the result of a long drawn out process. There was no British nation prior to the 18th century. Dear children, the formation of Britain was the result of long process. Britain was not a nation before the 18th century. It was an island that was inhabited by ethnic groups such as English and Welsh and Scot or Irish. These groups had their own culture and political traditions. As English started growing wealthy and gaining power and importance, they started extending their influence over other nations of the islands. So, the English Parliament seized power from the monarchy of 1688 after a conflict. Finally, a nation state was formed with England as its center. In 1707, the Act of Union came into being between England and Scotland. This resulted in the formation of the United Kingdom of Great Britain. Soon, England imposed its influence on Scotland. Even the British Parliament was dominated by the English members. Later on, the culture and political institutions of Scotland were suppressed by the growing British power. For example, the Scottish were forced to not speak in their Gaelic language or wear their national dress, and a large number of Highlanders were forcibly driven out of their homelands. And Ireland also had a similar story. This country was divided between Catholics and Protestants. Your children, England helped the Protestants of Ireland, and this resulted in the dominance of Protestant over Catholics. Dear children, The revolt led by the Catholics were suppressed by the British dominance. Ulfstone, who was a leading Irish revolutionary who formed a group named United Irishmen. He revolted against the English supremacy, but later on this revolt was suppressed by the English in 1798. Finally, in 1801, Ireland was forcibly incorporated into the United Kingdom. A new British nation came into being, which was largely dominated by the English culture. Your children, the symbol of the New Britain, the British flag, Union Jack, the national anthem, God Save Our Noble King. The English language were promoted and the older nation were left to survive as the subordinate. Till now, we have come to know about the rise of nationalism in the European countries and various attempts made by the revolutionaries for their rights to liberty, the establishment of power by the conservatives, and the unification of countries on the basis of various things. But when the countries achieved the status of a nation state, the next thing which gained importance was as to how the country should be visualized, isn't it? So let's see what was done in this context. Dear children, while it was easy enough to represent a ruler through a part or a statue, in other words, they represented a country as if it were a person. Nations were then portrayed as a female figure. Dear children, uh, during the 18th and 19th centuries, artists tried to give a face to the nation. For this, they started portraying it as a person, especially a female figure. The female form that was chosen to personify the nation did not started for any particular woman in real life. Rather, it was done to give a rough idea of the nation as a constant form. Dear children, this depiction of female figure as a nation by various artists become an eloquence. All this started during French Revolution War. Artists used the female allegory to represent ideas like liberty, justice, and the republic. Dear children, like liberty, justice, and republic ideas to represent these specific ideas, symbols, or specific objects were used by the artists. Dear children, the status of Madrini were erected at various public places. This was done to remind the public of the national symbol of unity. And Marina images were marked on coins and stamps. Similarly, in Germany, the female figure used for depicting Germany as a nation came to be known as Germania. Dear children, Germania is generally shows wearing a crown of egg leaves as the German oak stand for heroism. Observe that. So now we know about how the countries got unified and became nation state and also but personification of these states through female figures. But the question here arises that after becoming a nation state, did they continue to be liberal democratic nation or turn into something else, isn't it? Well, yes, after becoming nation state, the countries began to expand their boundaries in order to increase their power and influence over the other regions of the world. Dear children, this led to the birth of imperialism. So, what is imperialism? And we will discuss this now. By the quarter of the 19th century, nationalism no longer retained its idealistic liberal democratic sentiments of the first half of the century, but became a narrow creed with limited ends. The most serious sources of nationalist tension in Europe after 1871 was the area called the Balkans. The Balkans was a region of geographical and ethnic variation. Dear children, the rise of nationalism in Europe during the last quarter of the 19th century, a new political change was noticed. Nationalism no longer retained its idealistic, liberal, democratic, and sentiments of the first half of the century. Dear children, during this period, nationalist group became highly intolerant towards each other and were constantly in conflict. So, the major European powers tried to take advantage of this in realizing their goal in imperialism. Dear children, imperialism is a policy of extending a country's power and influence with the help of military forces or other means. An area known as the Balkans emerged as the most desired area to fulfill the imperialist goals by the Europeans. So, the Balkans was a region of geographical and ethnic variations comprising modern day and Romania and Bulgaria and Greece. Dear children, the Balkans was the region that was under the control of Ottoman Empire. Ottoman Empire was the empire from which Greece took its independence. The spread of the idea of romantic nationalism and the fall of the Ottoman Empire resulted in high tension in the Balkan region. Although the Ottoman Empire tried hard to strengthen itself during the 19th century by modernization and internal reforms, it could not succeed. The region with European subjects under its control began to separate away from it and formed up as independent state. So, the Balkan people stressed on independence on the basis that they were once independent nationalities taken over by them. Hence, the liberals started struggling so as to win back independence as different Slavic nationalists were attempted hard to gain independence. A situation of conflict arose because the Balkan states were now interested in expanding their territorial limits. Dear children, so during this period of time, the situation became more intense because on one side, Balkans were entering into rivalries, and on the other hand, Europeans came into the scene. The European powers entered into a rivalry with each other so as to establish their trade and colonies in the Balkan regions. Dear children, powers like Russia, Germany, England, and Austria Hungary were keen on establishing their own power over the Balkans. This resulted in a series of wars that ended up with the beginning of the First World War. Dear children, the concept of nationalism supported by imperialism became a reason for Europe's disaster in 1940. Dear children, during the 19th century, many colonized countries began to oppose the rule of imperialist countries. So, the anti-imperial movement that developed everywhere were nationalists. It is also because all of them were struggling to form independent nation state and had a sense of collective national unity. They were not aiming to follow the idea of imperialism. So, European ideas of nationalism were not seen being repeated anywhere as people everywhere had their own concept of nationalism. But all these events and processes came up with the idea of organizing societies into national state. So that were accepted as natural and universal. Being a student, you need to know these concepts very well. It is a little bit difficult. Please try to understand the concept. Watch the video again. Dear children, last but not least, being a student is easy. Learning requires actual work. Always walk through life as if you have something new to learn, and you will. Dear children, I hope after completion of this session, you understand the way the idea of nationalism emerged and led to the formation of nationalism and state in Europe. Dear children, as a student, is very important self management. Self management is very, very important in our life, not only student life. Dear children, you are able to control impulsive feelings, behaviors, and manage your emotions in healthy ways. Take initiatives, follow through on commitments. Dear children, and remember one thing, during study break, do not consume negative information. Listen, watch, or read only positive information. It increases your inner power. Dear children, learning will continue. Stay tuned for more video lectures on social science. Have a nice day. Thank you.